18B, evidence organizer. Okay. Now, Miss Foley is going to go over the introduction part again. We already did that, but I want you to pay attention to what she says about writing the next 2 pages.
Which one do we need first? Because both of them are in my book, and so I can't get them at the same time.
You're going to need 27A, but I would put a bookmark then in 18B. Does that make sense? So usually when I say find these, if you are in your workbook, I would put a bookmark in each one of those. Because we are going to be writing in 27A, but we're going to be flipping and looking at 18B a lot. And if you want, you can even rip out 27A and put it right next to 18B. Does that make sense? So if you wanted to rip out 27 or 27A or 18B, one of them, and have it right next to you, you can do that. Just make sure you stick it back in the book so you don't lose it at the end, okay? So if you wanted to rip one of those out, that way you have them both by you, I think that would be a good idea. And then if you have your book, or you can use the bookmark. So let's review what you should have done for this introduction. Miss Foley is going to talk about it, and then she's going to talk about what to do for your supporting paragraph 1, 2. And that's what we're going to work on a lot today. I was like, where did it go? Okay.
We have just finished this amazing novel, Thunder Rolling in the Mountains. And as you'll recall, we saw 2 very different outcomes for each of the main characters. Sound of Running Feet went by herself to Canada, and Chief Joseph surrendered. Throughout this whole book, and especially towards the end, you've had opportunities to think about Chief Joseph's and Sound of Running Feet's core beliefs and values, those that they share and those that are different. And you've also been thinking about how they guided the actions of the characters. All this work has helped you get to the very heart of this text, its characters, their people, and this tragic chapter in our country's history. Your job now is to express your understanding of the characters' core beliefs and values by writing a comparison-contrast essay for focusing question task 5. Let's get going. We have some important work ahead. We are taking another step toward completing focusing question task 5. Read the craft question on the slide with me. How do I develop my thesis in the supporting paragraphs of my comparison-contrast essay? When we say develop my thesis, it means how will we now write a paragraph with evidence and elaboration for each one of the points that you made in your thesis statement. Remember that in a previous lesson, you wrote a draft for the thesis for your comparison-contrast essay, and in this lesson, you're going to plan your supporting paragraphs. Remember how we talked about the thesis statement as being the most important sentence in your essay? The thesis statement
So this part, just so you know, we did do this already on Monday, but if you did not, this is just kind of a good review. And we're just going to make sure that when she talks about this, I want you to reread what we already wrote for that first page and see, do you have these points, okay?
Captures the essential idea of an essay and steers it like a steering wheel on a car. That's why we've spent so much time determining what points you plan to make in your essay and including those in your thesis statement. In order to plan your supporting paragraphs, you must start at, that's right, your thesis statement. So here are the next steps. Pause the video and read your thesis with these questions in mind. Number 1, as I said, reread your thesis statement. Number 2, how will you develop the thesis in your essay's supporting paragraphs? So consider the following.
This is what we're looking at today.
What will your first supporting paragraph be about? What will your second supporting paragraph be about? Check back in when you have time to review.
So I want you to read your 27. What is it? 27. Can I see it? 27A.
27A.
Yep. So do you know what your first topic, your first paragraph is going to be about? Your first point? Do you know what your second paragraph is going to be about? Your second point? Mhm.
For the next part of the lesson, you'll need handout 27A, which is an essay planner focusing question task 5. Pause the video if you need to retrieve it. It looks like this.
I'd like to.
You'll be able to use this planner to help you organize your ideas for your supporting paragraphs. If you find it doesn't provide quite enough space for you to do the writing, you can write in your journals and keep this handout as a guide. Notice that the planner is cycle, which means that you're going to have space to plan every part of your essay. So let's just look at the first page now.
Yes, Riley, what is your question?
So, and you know how we wrote that 2-point essay? Sorry.
Your 2 points? Yeah.
Yeah, like essay. Before, do we have to copy that into our 27A?
This is a new essay. I'm not sure. What do you mean?
Riley, do you just mean your the little 2 points that we made that go with our thesis statement? Or was it a whole essay?
No, we wrote my 2-point essay before, probably maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and we also wrote a thesis, but now we're changing to do it on 27A. Are we supposed to copy that into the 27A or not?
Yes. So last week, you're talking about last time you had Miss Foley, where you wrote 2 points and your thesis topic? Yes, that should have gone in here. So Riley, you wrote a whole bunch, right? A lot of yours included the hook, your background, and it included your 2 points. Does that make sense?
And when you're playing the video, it's very glitchy for me, so I'm just hearing parts of it. Is there a way we could make it less glitchy?
Yes, I will. I was on my second page opening something, so maybe that's why I won't open anything though right now, because I want you to hear the next part.
Okay.
Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, so the beginning so far, we have already done this. Okay, if you have not done this, this is, like I said, this is our final, this is kind of our big final assessment for this, okay, is we're going to compare and contrast the beliefs and values. So last time you, yes, met with Ms. Foley, you had a thesis statement, so that would be this bottom part that Riley's talking about, to where we talked about our main idea, and we added the 2 points in here. Now, Riley, and actually it wasn't just Riley, it was a bunch of you actually included some background information in your thesis. So maybe you ended up putting, because I know a couple of you wrote a nice big paragraph. So look at where some of that stuff can go in here, okay? And
is background evidence bad?
Nope, background is fine. This background lets the author know, like some of the evidence that you are putting in here. Could you possibly repeat it in your supporting paragraphs? Yes. Yep. So if for some reason you gave some background information here and you think it's super important to repeat later on, that is something too to think about. Does that kind of help answer your question, Riley? Okay. So we're going to skip ahead, and this is what we are going to do today. We are going to plan our support paragraphs on page 2 and 3 of handout 27A.
Yes. I'd like you to turn to page 2 and 3 of your essay planners. Page 2 contains a planner for supporting paragraph 1, and guess what page 3 has? A planner for supporting paragraph 2. Each of these supporting paragraphs focuses on either a similarity between Chief Joseph and Sound of Running Feet, which would be a shared belief or value, or it focuses on a difference between these characters' beliefs and values. It doesn't matter which of those you put first, but the order of your supporting paragraphs should match the order of the points you made in your thesis statement. In each of your supporting paragraphs, you need to include the following. And it doesn't matter whether you're writing about a belief or a value that they share or a difference. It should include a topic statement that introduces your point, either a similarity or a difference between the characters' beliefs and values. It should also include evidence for both characters, along with any necessary context, and elaboration for both characters. You have already done so much of the work that you'll need to create your supporting paragraphs. You have evidence, you have context for the evidence, you have elaboration for the beliefs and values that you're going to write about for each character. Well, now's the time you can focus on putting those ideas together to plan out a well-developed supporting paragraph for each one. It's what you've been waiting for. So I encourage you to refer back to your evidence organizers. Those are handout 18B, one for Chief Joseph, one for Sound of Running Feet, and of course the text as you need to flesh out your ideas. Okay, pause the video and get to work plan your supporting paragraphs. You can either do it on the planner itself or in your journals with handout 27A next to you for reference. And I'll meet you back here once you've planned out both of your supporting paragraphs. Yahoo!
I love her energy. Okay, so yes, what we're going to do is, so your points that you wrote here, okay? So we already wrote down what is our topic of each one of our paragraphs. So right here it says point 1. Okay. Yep, that's exactly right. So Riley is saying, so we just have to write more details about each of our points. Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, I want you to copy this. Right here, you've got point 1, and I'm going to put this right here on page 2. So what is my point 1? Is my topic of this whole paragraph is they want to protect their tribe. That's mine. Yours might be different. My point 2, I'm going to put on page 3 for paragraph 2. Yep. So I put on both pages. So point 1 is going to go next to supporting paragraph point 1. Point 2 is going to go into supporting paragraph point 2. Does that make sense? Show me with emojis, show me with, or let me know out loud. Does that make sense? Does that not? What? I can't see your face going, what? So that's what you have to let me know. Yes.
I've been talking about the first page this whole time. Like, is my first page okay? Am I like the 20th,
Yep.
the hook and introduction thesis?
Yep.
Or do I have to add more to that part?
You should be fine. And if later on you decide that you want to add a couple sentences in between, then this is just our rough draft, you guys. Does that make sense?
My well, your like point 1 and point 2 are just like one sentence. Mine are like 3 sentences.
Okay, that is fine. And actually, that's where you might already have some of these filled in then. So your point 1 is just, the overall idea. So if your point 1 is like 3 sentences, maybe it already fits in one of these. Does that make sense? So you probably have already done some of this work. I did a very, very short point. Yep, so I did, they want to protect their tribe, and you probably already, some of you I know have already elaborated. So if you want me to look more at yours individually, just to review it, we can go into a breakout room during this work time, and I can help you, okay? So if you're still like, oh, I don't know, and you want me to look at it, this is the time that you have to ask questions. So let me get everybody started, and then if you want me to look at what you have, then let's do that, okay? So what we're going to do is you have each of these points very briefly here, or maybe you put them more in detail, that's fine. you are going to write a topic statement about your point. So you're going to say they want to protect your tribe. So I'm going to say who they is. Okay, so this is a very brief point. So you'd want to say, who are we talking about? Okay, or you're, if it's maybe you put the difference here. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can do the difference or similarity first or second. It doesn't matter which order. So yours is going to look very different than mine. Then you should include evidence. Oh, where do I have evidence? Oh, right here. Remember how we put evidence and we elaborated on it. So a lot of the work you already have done. Now, maybe you're going, well, Senor Werzinger, I've got some evidence and elaboration, but it says that I need some more evidence and elaboration, maybe for your similarity, because maybe you're going to say maybe if this is my difference, I'm going to talk about Chief Joseph, and this is going to be Sound of Running Feet. If I have a similarity, I'm going to have 2 examples of how they're kind of similar. Okay, so you might need to use your book to help out. Then a final statement. Then you're going to work on your point 2, topic statement. Give me some evidence. Oh, like I said, you actually have things right here. If you're quoting directly from the book, should you put quotation marks around it? Yes, and you should tell me what page it's on. So for example, maybe I'm using this quote. Now, you don't have to quote exactly. If you want to summarize it, that's okay too. So if I'm saying like a quote, don't forget to put don't forget to put, because I wanted to use this quote. Okay. Don't forget to put citation marks around it if it's the exact same words. And then we have the page number because you want to tell me what page that's from. Now, maybe I don't want to use an exact quote. Maybe I want to use Chief Joseph got his name thunder rolling in the mountains from spending the night in the mountains and the spirit providing the name. If you found something still directly from the book, and even if you summarize it, and you know it's directly from the book, should you still put that page number? Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, I did an exact quote. So like for your evidence, okay? A lot of that is directly from the book. So if you should find the page number. If you can't find the page number, ask me and I can help you look for it, okay? Even if you say it in your own words, you summarize what happened, still put the page number because that's going to let me know, oh yeah, that's a really good point, and maybe I can look it up. And then as you elaborate, this is kind of your own, what you think. Does that make sense? Okay, so the rest of this time, we're going to complete paragraph 1 and paragraph 2. Make sense? So this whole time is for you to work. I'm going to put some music on quietly. Don't leave because I want you to work on it. And if you have questions, then we are going to go and we're going to work on things together. Or I can look at it with you. Okay. Okay. Go ahead and get started.
I wrote to you in the chat.
Okay, I'll look at it in just a second. So remember, these are about your 2 points, how they have similar values and beliefs and different values and beliefs. Does that help you, Balin?